What is up, guys? Brock here, normally with Light Fighters Anonymous. Today I have something a little bit different for you today. In front of you, as you can probably see, in front of me, I guess, as you can probably see, is my Klein Machining ARPK. This is in its latest iteration with its Gen 3 bipod, as well as what we're talking about specifically today is the clamp-on front sight post kit that can be sold with your Klein Precision ARPK, or is available for any bull barreled AR-15 with an outer diameter barrel diameter of 0.93. So that is the sizing of that. Today we're just going to go ahead and talk over this front sight kit, and then we're going to go ahead and go through the installation process of it on my personal ARPK. Keep in mind, full disclaimer, I am not a gunsmith. Bigger disclaimer, I am actually a big idiot, and all I have here is a Harbor Freight drill press, a single wrench, a single Allen key, and then the tools provided with the kit by Klein Machining to install all this. And I barely know what I'm doing, so bear with me. All right, guys, actually installing your front sight kit, your front sight post for the first time is super easy. You do only need basically your armorer's wrench, and then I believe this is a number 4 Allen key. If you don't have an armorer's wrench, you just need a 19. I couldn't find mine. So 19 pulls off your standard A2 bird cage, and then you can get to work on this. Obviously, my sight is obviously installed on my barrel, so I'm going to be working kind of in reverse about how you would install yours, but you'll get the drift. It's pretty simple. So first things first is you want to go ahead and get your 19 wrench and loosen your muzzle adapter, and go ahead and screw that off. Make sure you don't lose any of that stuff right here. And then you've got 2 little buffers. You've got your little washer for your flash hider, and then you've got another piece right here that actually has like a little divot and orients upwards with everything's installed. All right, so just set these 2 pieces aside. With these things off, your bipod, if you do have one, will slide right off, and you can set that aside. At this point, your barrel is nude enough that you can now either slide on your front sight kit if you have it, or I will be obviously just loosening mine to show you how it comes on and off here. So the number 4 Allen key, nice twist loose, and there you go, mine is free just like that. So obviously put it on, you just slide it on there. Now there's a couple things to note when you're sliding this on. Now this is not just perfectly straight. This sight is actually indexed, it's got a flat side and it's got a curved side. If you are blind like me and can't figure it out, you can set it down on a flat surface and it'll quickly tell you which one's flat and which one's not. All right, so obviously the flat side right here goes forward towards your muzzle, and the slanted side goes back towards the shooter. So when you install your sight, that is very important. To slide it on, obviously you just slide it right on the muzzle, over the muzzle, and onto your barrel. Now I like to get it about eyeball right. My rail's resting on the table, so it's fairly 12 o'clock. And then I'm just going to tighten this on just ever so lightly, like maybe just a gentle finger tight, just so it'll stand up all by itself. At this point, the next step, if you do have a bipod on your weapon that installs on the muzzle as well, you want to go ahead and slide this on there to make sure that you don't have any interfacing problems, okay? One thing you want to notice is that when you turn your rifle to the right and to the left, you want to make sure that your sight has enough room to clear the backwards-most parts of your bipod. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust mine forward a little bit until I've got all the sight radius I want right there. So that's about as forward as it goes. And I'm just going to clamp that down a little bit more because it's still pretty loose. All right. So again, checking to make sure the weapon rotates in the bipod freely, and I'm not going to have any bumping or rubbing, but getting it as close as possible. Again, bipod's on. Now you take this little indexed washer with its index humps towards the top, put that back on the top, and then your crush washer, or it's not really a crush washer, it's your flash hider washer, whatever that thing is called. I'm not an armorer again. And then screw on your A2 bird hider, tighten it with a wrench, and we are now ready to take this out to a zeroing range and do some final adjustments and some perfecting little touches, okay? All right, guys, we are back from the range, and this thing zeroed up real quick and easy. Just had to do a slight adjustment to the front sight post. Again, like we went out there with it pretty tight on the barrel, and all we did to make adjustments is really, I just kind of like tapped it ever so slightly with just this, you know, this very soft improvised hammer device to make my small little adjustment. Just small little taps, shot it 3 more times, small little taps on the tip, shot it 3 more times, and then once I was really pleased with it, I really cranked down on this nut, and now it is pretty much locked in, and we are ready to go ahead and drill, ream, and put the pin in and put this thing on permanently. And this is apparently so easy that even I can do it. So I've gone ahead and stripped the ARPK apart, and I need to go ahead and take off the muzzle device and the bipod once again so that the jigs will fit on over the device here. So here we go. Bear with me. A2 flash hider, our washers, and the bipod, and just set those aside. Now, everything you need to drill and put this pin on is included in this kit. He's included the drill bit, is appropriate size, as well as the reaming bit, as well as a pin. That's all included in this kit, as well as you get 2 specific jigs. Now, you'll notice these jigs look a little bit different. That's because they are different. This jig right here is the jig for your drilling. So this is the one you're going to use first in conjunction with this drill bit. You'll line this up on your sight and then drill into the hole and drill through into the other hole, okay? I've asked, what if I go too deep or drill through the backside? Does it make a difference? He said, no, absolutely, it does not matter. Then, after we've drilled, we will then be putting on this. This is the depth gauge for our reaming bit. We'll slide this over our sight, and then we will be reaming the hole out that we drilled to this depth with this reaming bit, and then it will be ready to accept a pin. So, very simple. First things first is we got to put our drill jig on. Now you'll notice, just like the front of the ARPK sight, there's a flat side and there's a slanted side. So it just interfaces just like this with the sight, like so. So there it is, set up on there. And then I just need to take this and balance it up and clamp it down on the drill press. So I'm gonna get set up, get the drill press set up here. All right, guys, at this point, I think I'm all set up and ready to drill. We've got the front sight in our drilling jig appropriately. I've got this clamped down. I went ahead and built a little base to support my rifle at the same level at our drilling height. I've checked my depth. I've made sure that my drill works and then that my bit is running straight. So I think everything is in place to begin drilling. I have been told here that when we want to drill, we kind of want to drill in like a pecking motion, just taking a little bit of metal at a time and then using plenty of some sort of cutting oil or lubricant. You can tell that mine is very old. All right, move my instructions so we don't get any lube on them, and spray a little bit of cutting oil on that fluid. We're gonna go ahead and turn our drill on. I'm gonna keep a hand on the rifle just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. We're gonna start real slow. Let's go ahead and get you the best sight we can of this. The metal. Get it cutting nice and easy. Let's get a little more fluid on there. These chips come out. Not a professional. Making progress. Nice and slow and steady. Still getting chips, still putting oil in. We're almost there. This one's chips. There we go. We are through the site. All right. Let's unclamp this. Remove our jig. View our beautiful new hole that we have created. Wham. Right there. No big deal. Right where we're supposed to be. I hope. All right, guys, the next step is obviously clean up your metal shavings and your debris from your area. And then you're going to want to go ahead and get an air compressor and blow it through this hole. Make sure this hole is completely clean before you ream it. You don't want any metal shavings in there when you go to ream. So I've got to actually fire up my air compressor. It's going to take me a few minutes, but we're going to make sure we get all the shavings out of that hole. Be right back. All right, guys, I went ahead and blew out this hole with the air compressor, got all the metal shavings out of there, and we are ready to set up for reaming. Time for reaming, we've got this other jig that looks kind of like this big J or this C kind of shape right here. This, very simply, fits over the front side post like so. And this is slightly different than the other gauge. What this is a depth gauge for your reamer. So when I'm going to switch over to a reaming bit here on the drill press, which is also provided from guys at Small Team Supply or Klein Machining. All right, guys, I've got my reaming bit installed on the drill press. I've got my reaming jig on. Now remember, this is a depth jig this time, so I'm going through my current hole that I've already made to the depth of this jig, and that's where I'm going to stop. And then I've got the barrel kind of just lightly clamped. I did not have an easy way to clamp this jig down on my system, so I put the clamp on the barrel. For all you guys that care about your finishes, don't worry about it. Klein parks his stuff, so it'll hold up just fine. Again, slow and steady wins the race when you're doing this, and then use plenty of cutting fluid. Let me zoom you guys in so you get the best view possible here. We're about halfway through already. All right, I can now see the tool bit on the other side of the jig, which is good. I just want to make sure I go to the depth of the jig and we're all set. All right, that should be it. So, let's go ahead and free this guy up. Pop our depth jig off. Let's go ahead and get the air compressor back out and blow some of this debris away. All right, guys, just like that, blew the debris out of this hole, and good grief, it looks like a machinist made this thing. And I got an old wonky Harbor Freight drill press and just the tools included to me with this kit. That was surprisingly easy. And yes, I was a little bit nervous about doing this, but rightfully so. The last step, guys, is just this pin here. Let me clear the table and we'll smash this pin in, and I think we're ready to go, guys. All right, and just like that, we're permanently pinned on. All right, guys, so our front sight post is now clamped on and now permanently pinned on in position, in its zeroed position, and we are ready to go and reinstall all the parts the same way they came off. So just like they came off, first things first, a little bit of a lubricant never hurt anybody. But then the bipod goes on. Then your bipod limiting washer goes on with the ridges towards the rifle. Then your spacer or your A2 flash hider washer, whatever the thing's called, it goes on there. And then finally your A2 flash hider goes on. Now, I've found that the best way to get this set up now is you've got it like this. Tilt it as far left as you can go. Take note of its position, then tilt it as far right as you can go. And take note of where your bipod's currently limited. Now, perfect setup is about right there to there, and that way you can get your magazine out from either set. So the best way to do it is to tighten this A2 flash hider down hand tight, and then keep it hand tight with your hand. You kind of twist your rifle over to the halfway position there, and then now that you've got it hand tight, you'll be able to feel it stop over on this right side. And that is just about even. So we're ready to torque it down. Now, if we go ahead and torque it down right now, it's going to turn that washer. However, I found that if you push it all the way over to this left side here, the same direction you're going to be turning this guy, we can tighten this without losing any of our dope. So that A2's on there pretty good. And I've got right limit, left limit, right limit, left limit, pretty even. I'm going to tighten it down one more tighten here. Hot pajamas, that's probably pretty good. Right limit or left limit, right limit, pretty damn even. All that's left to do is slap this thing back together, but that is for a different video, guys, and I'm going to be doing a whole video review on this rifle hood coming up very soon. I did have to get this part mounted in its permanent location though before we get it all painted and sexied up and start playing rough with it. Guys, I appreciate you watching this video. This was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I know drilling your brand new rifle is a scary task for a lot of people. Klein gives you guys tons of instructions, tons of support if you need it, and all the tools you guys need to make it happen besides like a Harbor Freight drill press. He even told me that he reamed his with a hand drill. He doesn't recommend that though. Guys, this is the clamp-on front sight post from Klein Machining or Small Team Supply. Super easy to put on. You can do it yourself in your garage in just a couple hours. Rock on, stay sharp, kiss your mothers.